Awesome, mate. Awesome. So where are you these days? You're in sunny / rainy / cloudy Victoria, aren't you?
I'm in Camberwell, yeah. So we're just like sitting out in the pool area.
Oh, tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I was in the pool and I thought I better put a shirt on and put pants on and stuff.
That's some pants. I wish you hadn't, though.
Yeah, I can get back in.
Interview in the pool, nice.
Lifestyles of dickheads in pools. You can leave that in.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll leave that bit in. Mate, I haven't seen you face to face for several years.
Yeah, it's got to be a few now.
Exactly, but and many people would know you from an up and coming website called Facebook. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's been a wild few years since we last spoke.
Exactly, mate.
Actually, mainly due to Facebook. Like it's been wonderful for us.
Yeah, 100%. So look, maybe start at the start, mate. Even before the world that you're in now, like where have you come from, and how'd you get to where you are today?
Well, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a soldier, and that was not to be. So I copped a stick in my left eye when I was 9, and that got my vision a bit screwed up.
How'd that happen?
We were fighting with sticks, those tea tree poles that you used to use for fencing back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And we were bashing this tree, and my friend went to bash the tree, and I was behind him and went straight in my eye. So I lost the lens. And that kind of put me on a different path because I really wanted to be in the SAS or the fighter pilot or something.
Yeah.
So I was pretty screwed up by that for a few years, and kind of my parents broke up, and that screwed me up even more. I got really bitter and twisted.
Yeah,
so I got into punk rock and decided I was going to destroy the world and sleep with all the girls and play lots of guitar. And then when I was in my my early 20s, all my hair started to fall out, and I started to get a beer gut from all of the drinking and the drugs and the bad food and the partying. And I thought to myself, well, the girls that used to be chasing me, they're now running in the opposite direction, and I'm going to have to do something to reinvent myself. So I was talking to my friends one night about what to do next with my life, and one of my friends, Rachel, said, you'd be awesome in sales. You should get into real estate or something. And I'm like, well, shit, I've always been really good at talking girls into coming to my house at 1 o'clock in the morning. Since the age of like 12, I've been doing that. So... And I get people to come to my gigs, and I get people in my band to do what I want them to do, even though they don't want to do it. And shit, maybe I actually am good at talking to people. So I got a job at her call center and started doing stuff. And yeah, a few years passed, cut all my hair off, got a suit, got promotion after promotion, was pretty upwardly mobile. Ended up running a sales center with like 15 guys under me selling publishing, kind of advertising space. And it was back in 2006-07 before the big bubble burst. And my wife, now girlfriend at the time, Leela, said to me, you're miserable. And I said, no, I'm not. That's my job we're talking about. I'm a man, and I make $100,000 a year, and I've got a car and a mortgage, and I'm very important. That's my penis, young lady. We're not talking about that in a negative way. But she was right. I hated my job. I didn't much like what I was doing. And I really didn't enjoy what I was selling or the people I was selling it to, because I really didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
She said, what would you do if you could start over? I said, I'd probably be a sales trainer, because I really love changing people from worrying about like not being able to make money to being able to empower them in a week to make thousands of dollars and to be able to get the result they want and to change their lives. So I thought, well, I could never do that, because it's, something I'm passionate about. And this Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy and Hopkins and Rowan and all these guys are all doing a really good job of that already. Who would listen to me?
Yeah.
And she said, well, you make your company 30, 40, 50 grand a week. Do you think that there's people that would like to know how to do that? I said, but it's not my money, it's their money. She goes, Gulliver, do you think they care? I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, I'm in a business, I'm paying 25 grand to be part of Jay Abrams' program to learn marketing, and there's people in my program that aren't making $50,000 a year, and you're making $50,000 a week. Do you think they might want to know how you do it? And I'm like, So over years, she eventually beat me into doing it. And she's been my first real business mentor from the very start. And I pretty much owe all of it to her incessant upgrading on me. So the first guy I charged, I think I charged him like $1,000.
Yeah.
And he made $3,000 that week. And I was like, hang on. And then he made like $500,000 in the next 6 months. And I'm like,
For $1,000.
And I don't charge $1,000 a week anymore, so don't ask. But yeah.
So
yeah.
Can I just ask at that point? So you charged $1,000 for that coaching package.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did your limiting headspace go at that point? Because I'm assuming and guessing that you didn't charge $1,000 for anything up until then.
Yeah, look, I think Leela's initial kind of her initial thing with me was like, you know, like if you look at what you're making, how much is that worth? And I looked at it and I'm like, well, you know, if I could make them, well, you know, let's say $50,000 a week, that's what, $200,000 a month. That's $2.something million a year. She goes, what do you reckon that's worth? And I go like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, well, that's probably about $250,000 worth of consulting if you're a corporate consultant. Like, if you're, you know, going to go into companies and help them do that. And I'm like, no way. So for me at that point, because like being a sales manager earning $100,000 a year, charging like $1,000 for 5 hours of my time was like a really big deal, because I wasn't $2.5 million in my pocket. I was only saying, you know, a couple of $1,000 a week in my pocket. So it was like, I reckon 1,000, I'll start there. And it was like, I knew it was undervaluing myself, but I had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it keeps happening.
Sure.
You know, we keep doing it.
100%. And you would know that better than most people. I guess where my head's at this point in time is the people that might be watching this and the people that you would deal with on a daily basis is they don't think for whatever reason that they can charge that sort of money or you know, the 5 figures or 6 figures or whatnot. I want to talk about a little tiny bit of strategy later on, but what would you say to someone that's really struggling with whacking their prices right up?
I think you've got to stop selling by the value of what your limitations have been previously around money and start selling by the value of who you are able to be for the person that you're selling to. So like when I went into digital marketer, and you've probably seen their stuff on the internet, they're a little multi-million-dollar marketing company over in America. A guy called Ryan Dice runs the company, and him and his partner Harry and Roland run that. So me and Leela and Frank and those guys all sat down, and it was like, well, Frank Kern recommended me to go and talk to them, and I said to Frank afterwards, I said, what do I charge these guys? And she's like, well, look, they don't think anything of spending $18,000, $19,000, $20,000 a day on Dan Kennedy. So you could probably at least charge that much. And I'm like, okay. And Leela's like, dude, you should charge them $150,000. And I'm like, God, I can't charge that much. And this is at the point where I've actually made quite a few people $1 million, and I'm still not learning, right? This is like 4 years ago. And I charged them 20. So we went in, we did 2 days, and they made 75 on day 2, and they made 90 the next week, and they made 200 and something the week after, and then 300, and they were doing $200,000 or $300,000 weeks from that point forward. And I think, you know, I was scared to put a value on myself, like you always are in that next level setting. And again, the guys made millions and millions of dollars. So it's about the value they get out of it. Like I think I was a little bit, oh shit, these big guys, they're making $150 million a year. What can I possibly teach these guys on one side? But on the other side, they weren't making sales calls. They were just basically doing inbound sales off their database and stuff like that. And they weren't making outbound calls. They still don't do any of that stuff as well as they could. So it was about what I knew and what it would be worth to them, not about what I was making and how much more they were making than me and how I wasn't good enough and all that kind of stuff that we do to ourselves.
Sure, exactly.
So my advice is, you know, like from an expert point of view, that, you know, you've heard the saying, you know, an expert is somebody who's screwed it up every way imaginable. I am that expert.
That's you.
You know, like on my gravestone, it'll be, here lies Gulliver Giles. He should have charged more. You know?
100%. Do you think, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, do you think you're a good coach?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, I think I'm a good instructor.
What's the difference?
Well, for me, like coaching is, you know, Matt, you can do it, man. You've got what it takes. You know, you can do man, you can do it. It doesn't really matter how much I think you can do it.
Yeah.
And these days I'm becoming more of an instructor. So, Matt, if you want to get the result, here's how to do it. Here's the things that you need to do in this order. Do them.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in coaching you through it and making you do it. I can't make anyone do anything. And back when I was really attached to results for myself and my clients, and I was younger and dumber, and I really wanted to prove myself to everybody, I used to be, yeah, you can do it. Now I'm like, you know what, man? You could or you could not. And it doesn't reflect on me. But if you do what I tell you to, you're going to get results. But you've got to do the work.
100%.
And that gives people better results because they're like, holy shit, Gulliver's not taking any blame for my bullshit or any credit. Maybe I should just do the work. And the people that do. And the people that don't, aren't going to anyway.
Yeah. And do you think that's allowed for better results because you have changed your tact a little bit?
My clients, look, Dan Kennedy talks about this and I agree with him. Every 100 people you talk to, the top 8 will do amazing. You know, like, you've got people in my community who've gone from 0 to $500,000 to $1 million to $2 million in 4 years. And who've just got me. Like, it took me 11 years to get to where I am now doing a couple $1 million. I've got students who are doing 2.5. I've got a student eclipsing me right now. And it's like,
that's the ultimate for you though, right?
But, well, as any kind of martial arts mentor wants to get their students to black belt, yeah?
Exactly.
So, I mean, like, what they say, the mark of a master isn't how many students they've got, but how many masters they created. Like, I would say I'm a master of what I do, and I'm improving that and stepping into it. But I think that, you know, like, there's a limited amount of people that will just do exactly what you tell them to. If I look at the top 10 people in my clientele, you know, the top sort of half a dozen have done everything we've told them to, have done multiple 6 figures, have 6 figures plus in the bank, have $1 million freaking property portfolio or whatever. Yeah. They've just done what I told them to do. Like, and the fact is they probably would have done it anyway, whether I helped them or not. I've just given them a few tweaks to improve their technique on the way. Down the bottom of that pyramid, you got a bunch of people that blame me for being all sorts of son of a bitch, and you know, like, I'm a terrible person because I told them that I had a sales system that worked that they weren't prepared to do. Therefore, I'm evil. You know, in between those two levels, you got varying degrees of people who did okay and people who did fuck all.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's about whether I think that I'm a good coach or not. It's about whether I do good work that I enjoy doing. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, and there has to be that, right? You have to enjoy what you do, and but I think that's every industry. You know, I think no matter what, there's always going to be humans that blame you for their lack of results, and there'll always be that, as you guys talk about. You know, there's that 8% that that actually get in and do different, right?
Yeah, and that's who I'm interested in working with. And my whole process now is about trying to get rid of everybody else just to get to those kind of people. Because they're the ones who make my heart sing because they do the work, and I love working with them because it's like teaching eagles to fly higher, not teaching turkeys to stop being turkeys, because you can't do that. Yeah,
got it. And, you know, a great strategy for most businesses, right? Find that 8%, find that niche market that, you know, the old 80-20 rule, 20% of the people bring in 80% of the money.
And I think that they're your poster kids too, and they're the ones that attract better people to you. You know, absolutely.
What we're talking about clients and whatnot. What makes a good salesperson, do you think? I know before you talked about you were a good talker and you talked people into doing what you wanted them to do. Is that all sales is?
I would say, like, that's a raw material, like the desire to actually, like, you know, interact with people and desire to have that kind of conversation and the confidence that you have something for these people. That's something that really helps me. But, you know, that wasn't my most evolved self. Like, back in, you know, when I was 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, my sale was about getting me laid or getting what I wanted. And that's not what I would really call sales. It's more manipulation and coercion to get what I want. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily what I want from a salesperson in my business, and it's not what I am proud of. Like, that's not a part of my life that I actually look back and go, yeah, I was doing real good back then because I was unhappy. I was miserable. I think I managed to turn that around into something quite useful But that's not what I look for in a salesperson. What I look for in a salesperson, for me, is probably somebody who wants to do the work that I want to do. And that's a very rare thing in my business, which is actually all about helping people and giving them breakthroughs and getting better results for them. And actually, it's a very selfless sale, if you like. It's very like putting yourself on the line for someone else and having the tough conversations with them, when it probably would jeopardize most sales with most people in order to select only the best. It's not a close them all and make 100% sales closure and be a boss and slap yourself on the back that you closed all these people and now you're going to make a galactic $1 billion and fly your Lamborghini copter into a mountain of cocaine and strippers. It's more saying no to the bad deals and actually being more choosy and being more mature in your outlook. That's what I look for, is somebody who's been through it, failed, stuffed it up, realised that they're not the biggest dickus and the king of everything, and is prepared to actually learn from me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really looking for now, is someone who's really receptive to learn and who wants to master the craft of actually being a master of sales, not just a flash in the pan, rain-making, money-making kind of guy.
Got it.
So I'm looking for warrior monks. I'm not looking for, blowhards, if that makes sense.
What, in regards to that then, so you're saying there's a type of person that you're looking for. I'm interested in what holds them back. So if you've got that person you're looking for, what are their biggest challenges when they first start working with you?
I think if you look at whether it's my clients or whether it's salespeople, we all have the same basic needs, yeah? So if you look at the human needs, safety, survival, food, fire, water, cave, protection, yeah? Basic human needs. If you don't have those things, you're dead. Those are really important. Then you've got, community. How do I fit in with my people? How am I perceived by the clan? Like, do women think I'm sexy? Am I a good hunter?
Yeah.
You got self-esteem, like I really feel good about myself. I'm loving stuff that brings me even feeling better. I'm not worried about my position. I know who I am and I want to actually develop myself. And then you've got self-actualization right up at the top.
Right at the top.
It's my legacy. So I think if you look at those, the corresponding 5 problems are fear around not having enough money, not enough time, not enough food. Those things are a big problem in commission-only sales. The guy's terrified he's not going to have enough. The girl's terrified she can't make rent that week. Yeah. The next level up from that's, well, how do I fit into the rest of the sales team? And am I good enough? And can I compete with the other girls and the other guys? And the next level up from that is, wanting to inform themselves and learn and become better so that they can feel better about what they do. And the negative flip side of that is all of those problems and issues that we have become objections that we have and taint and pollute our sales conversations with. So fear, time, money fears, survival fears. Low-level salespeople tend to always get those objections and struggle with them.
Got it.
How do I fit in? Where do I fit in? Tends to translate as, will my partner approve? Those kind of people who are really susceptible to being worried about their parents or their partner or the people at their CrossFit box or whatever their community is and how they're perceived by people tend to fall for the partner objection a lot. The business partner, the wife won't let the deal go ahead. These guys just accept that at face value. Next level up from that, people who want to improve themselves, be better informed, want to have all the information, are worried about how they're coming across, aren't confident to just sell what they're selling. They will always get nailed by the information objection and the trust objection. Yeah? Legacy. Now, what am I going to do next? Where is the next, the leap of faith for me is always going to be the trust objection, because they don't trust themselves. So the opposite of all of those needs is the flip side of that are all of those negative. So the 5 desires that we really want are also the 5 things we most worry about in sales objections. And those are the things all salespeople and all entrepreneurs are plagued with at each level until they give up all of those things and actually reach that place. All right, I'm not worried about any of these things. I am concerned with the great work of being who I am and being the best. And I can't afford to worry about that because I'm really just here for Matt today. And I'm going to be 100% present for him. I'm take all my fears out of it and just love Matt enough to show up and respect Matt enough to have an honest conversation with him. That's how you transcend all of those fears and you become pure and empty of all of those worries and just listen to what Matt's saying instead of letting yourself become the obstacle all the way through. because of your fears and desires, you pollute yourself and you can't hear what Matt's saying. You can't help him enough because you're up in your own head.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%, mate. And it's awesome to hear someone that is so passionate about sales explain it away from the monetary side of what sales is. What I'm interested in.
That's an important thing, yeah.
100%. What I'm interested in is what was / is your challenge in that example you just gave. You know,
well, you're literally talking about separating out your humanity and access your divinity. If you want to get really woo-woo about it, you know, if you want to get all Byron Bay on it, you're really talking about emptying out the impure vessel of your ego and attaining a state of balance, and that is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like presenting at that level for 8 hours on the phone every day, or for 8 hours on the stage every day. The big problem is self-care, loving yourself, and building a life around yourself that justifies the level of deep spiritual work that you're doing on each phone call with each person, and that giving of yourself at that level. So the big challenge for me is finding that limit in my life to go fishing more, to make time for my body, to be healthy, to meditate, to go see my psychiatrist, to get my spiritual mentoring to help me, to get the feedback I need and not get up in my own head like I'm counselling my clients not to. Being authentic and holding that level is hard. It's not an easy path. It winds upwards, and it gets narrower and narrower. The further you get, the tougher it gets, but the tougher you get. So that's the challenge.
Sure. And that can be relatable back to lots of different challenges that people face, right? Well,
sales is fitness. Fitness is sales. Health is sales. Spirituality, they're all the same freaking thing. They're all part of your finance area. I have sacrificed my health, my body, my longevity, probably damaged my liver and kidneys quite badly in the last 10 years. I've been focused on being on the phone, making money, drinking, and eating badly. In the last couple of years, I've started to break down at 42, and now it's been about living a balance with my body and my spiritual side and my mental and emotional side and my family and my financial, and doing all of those and being a great salesperson and being a great partner is challenging as fuck.
Of course
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
And did the sales side suffer because you put a focus on those other things?
Well, no. Actually, the weirdest thing is when I worked out more, stayed on my diet, stayed off the piss, and went fishing every day I could, sales went through the roof.
Yeah.
When I stopped doing those things, sales plateau again. So when you don't love your life, you don't love yourself, you're not happy, you're not fishing, you're not making love to your wife, you're not making time to make some walk time for the dogs, you're not working out, you actually do get worse. You don't get better. When you have less time because you're spending time on yourself and living a life you want, that you feel happy about, your sales go up because you value your time, or you're like, no, I'm not going to talk to that person. I'm only going to talk to these serious people. And you stop making sales fit into the 24 hours of the day, and you start making it work really only in the hours that you're not fishing or having a life. It shifts everything. But that's a tough thing. How good can you stand to have your life?
Exactly. Yeah, and making that a priority, but also X, Y, and Z are priorities as well, right? It sounds to me like you've done a lot of work in the last few years, yes, on sales, but also on other aspects of your life. Who would you say have been the biggest, and I'm guessing Leela is one of these, but who have been the biggest influences for you?
I would say from a marketing point of view, definitely Jay Abram, Leela, Tony Robbins, probably more from a mindset point of view, Leela, mindset point of view. God, there's so many people. From a kind of sales coaching point of view, Leela's always been there driving me. So she's kind of like the CEO and the owner of the business and the founder, and I'm just the outward face of the business. And I think guys particularly tend to see me as the boss, and I'm not. I'm just part of a team, and not even the most important part of the team. Sure. So Leela's definitely the big mover. Also, Bianca Iona Robertson has been a great influence on both our lives. Mark Toby's been a great personal influence on my life from a health point of view. Vicky White, my spiritual mentor, really helps me get my shit together mentally. God, there's so many people to thank for. Like, I could just go all day. My clients have been a great example to me. You know, like, I learned from them too. Like, they are also my mentors and teachers.
Why?
So,
why are your clients mentors?
Well, when you see a guy like Drew, who's like 27 years old and about to hit his first million, 3 years after he started his own business, and you look at yourself at 42 and you look at the way he shows up in his business, and it's like, wow, holy crap. And when you look at Emma, who's got a similar story, when you look at Tom and Mari, and they're such beautiful people and they bring so many cool things to the table that I learn from all the time. You look at your clients and the things they've got right. Bianca and Mark were both clients, and I saw what they were doing in their lives and their bodies, and I was like, well, I give these guys a hard time about not making the sales, but look, they're making the sales and they're keeping a CrossFit competition level body or a bodybuilding level body. Why can't I have both of those things? So look, they've been examples for me as much as I've been a sales mentor to them. They've shown me how to have a life that that I was more enriched by, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that photo I put up for the, a little bit of promo for the interview today was you sitting next to Richard Branson, obviously taking notes. Someone was speaking. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
So early last year, about this time, Leela came to me and said, right, I've got an invitation here to attend Disrupt for Good, which is all about basically using business to screw up, the world for the better. So that turns me on. Leela's like, look, because Leela's been the one dragging me to Franklin, Dan Kennedy, Tony Robbins, everything since day dot.
Yeah.
And we probably spent between airfare and travel and all the stuffing around and hotels and programs, probably spent about probably 2.5 million over the last 11 years on personal development, business and marketing. And
wow,
it's a lot of money.
Exactly.
That's why she's as smart as she is. But she tends to drag me kicking and screaming into these things, like with much resistance and bitching and complaining. I'm, come on, Gulliver.
Why? What's the issue?
I've always been the plotter. I've always been the entrepreneur. She's always been the entrepreneur. She's always been like, if Leela comes to me with a decision, the first thing I always do is I'll be like, fuck, what are all the things that could go wrong with this? If someone comes to Leela with a decision, she's like, if I don't do this, I will never know what's on the other side. And that's who she is.
Yeah.
And like, she's like a bull at a gate. She's like unstoppable. And like, I just learned, if you can't run from it, run with it. Like I can't run away from her. I can't get away from her.
Yeah.
So I've learned to run with her. And now I'm actually starting to get to the point in the last couple of years where I'm being less of a ball and chain. Like I still screw up.
Yeah.
But she's very much the founder, the rolling stone, the one who's making it happen. I'm more the anchor dragging behind it.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. Yeah.
I just want to ask this question. So I get from you, and I've worked with you before, I get that there's no bullshit. Is that why you are reluctant to go to things like, and I get there's a lot of value in something like Tony Robbins, but there's also a lot of high fives and massages on the back and whatnot. Is that something that holds you back?
When we first started our personal development journey, Leela had been to Tony Robbins before me, and she came back all happy and running and eating vegan food and stopped drinking and like started going. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Who are you?
And I felt threatened. I felt threatened by my wife becoming more than me, but I wasn't prepared to do anything about that or change anything because I was really committed to my self-destructive path at that point. So that's kind of, and it kind of hits it. But she's very much been the leader in that picture, Yeah. So I think with Tony Robbins, like I was freaked out by Tony Robbins, but I also took a lot of great stuff away from it. I was freaked out by going to Egypt and going on the spiritual tour, but I took a lot of good stuff away from it. It got to the point with Leela where she's like, "Will you just fucking trust me?"
Yeah.
Like every time I decide we're going to do something, it's a good thing. Could you just back me?
Yeah.
And I remember this just before we joined Frank's stuff. I came up with this big story of how Frank was going to screw us over, and it made us millions. So after that point, like I've been really careful to try and shut my big fearful mouth when I'm around her. So she came to me with this Branson thing, and I'm like, "What's going on with it?" She goes, "Look, it's $25,000 US per head. So I'm not going to drag you to this one. You have to decide if you want." It's not an inconsiderable thing.
Yeah.
So it would be 75 grand Australian plus, $20,000 in business class flights over there. Plus, we were running seminars over there in America for our members and delivering stuff. And it was an expensive trip. It cost probably about $150K in the end.
Wow.
And I had to come up with that extra sales, an extra 60K, 70K a month over 2 or 3 months leading into it. From the time we interviewed and said yes, to the time we had to like fork over the cash to the charity, it was like,
wow.
And it stretched me.
Yeah, 100%.
It stretched the fuck out of me. So to get there, I was pretty upset. By the time we got there, I was pretty stressed out.
Wow.
Because we put ourselves right up. Like even at the kind of $150,000, $200,000 a month level, an extra 70 grand to sneeze at, especially in 2 months.
Exactly.
So I was a bit burned out by the time I got there. I was a bit exhausted, and it just changed everything. It was so cool. Richard was so humble. All the guys at Necco were so amazing. Like all of these billionaires that you hear about, you know, that's that joke that goes around the internet that like, hey, there's all these billionaires and not one of them's become Batman. Well, I call bullshit on that because Richard Branson is Batman. But that guy, he's trying to fix carbon reform. He's trying to fix the death penalty in Australia, in America. He's trying to fix indigenous problems in Australia. He's trying to do all these things. He's got all these billionaires, and their whole gig is plotting how they can save the world, basically. It's awesome. Exactly. And to be around people like that really woke me up to just how privileged and spoiled I was to be worried or stressed or fearful making $2 million a year. It was like, what are you even fucking worried about?
Yeah.
Like you've got so much to give back to the world, and that's where everything really shifted into a whole other gear for us.
Wow.
So Richard's been incredible. All the guys over at Necco were incredible, and it gave us the inspiration to dig even deeper into being more philanthropic and, you know, creating social change through business. And there's a bunch of stuff we're cooking up at the moment, which is all around that. So not just making money for the sake of making money, but actually helping people with it.
Yeah, what's the why, right?
Yeah, so activism, like Lula's just about to release a new course on activism. So how you can use your business to change the world for the better, how you can actually do, you know, cool shit and actually make a change in the world. And as a punk rocker, as an Doc Martens wearing guy with a mohawk kind of dude, I mean, like, that to me is just like a dream come true. So it's really given me access to like that angry punk kid in me, that he's still in there, but now he can do stuff. And it's not about spray painting a building or getting a chick to sleep with me or, you know, taking some drugs. It's about changing the world and helping people. And it's like it's like throwing a big rock at a bigger car. You know what I mean?
Well, you can do real stuff now, right? You've got a real voice instead of just, you know, one that your ego thought was a big deal when you were in your teenage years. Now you actually do have a strong voice. That's awesome.
I had a lot to say in a very loud voice when I was a teenager, but now I get older, I've got the actual, you know, the ability to make that voice heard, and actually to be even more succinct. It's not even about my voice. It's about helping other people help people to find their voices. It's about going into that Indigenous community and putting a well in that they couldn't afford, or going into that Indigenous community and creating a tourism business that funds their hospital, or, you know, it's not even about me. It's about them. Yeah.
And it's awesome that's this journey that you're on, that it's taken you to that point where you've got empathy for others and you're looking at what you can do as how it can help other people. I think more people should definitely have that vision.
I think you don't become a socialist or a punk rocker at 18 because you don't care. But the world beats into you that you can't do anything about it. The same way the world beats into you that you can't be a millionaire. The same way the world beats into you that you can't be a successful rock star, or you can't be an artist, or you can't be a fitness trainer, or you can't be whatever. There's so many people out there telling you that you can't. And I think we bought into that. I bought into that. I had to survive. I had to fire in the water and keep the cave warm. But once you get to that point where, hang on, I've got the cave, I've got a community around me, I've got people that are listening to me, what if I use that for good? All of those ideas and feelings and angriness and passion and the desire to change the world flooding back, and it re-energizes you. It's amazing. It's a real privilege.
Got it. Mate, I'm going to steer the ship a little bit a different direction.
Cool.
And I didn't sort of quiz you on this one, but this is a Facebook question, maybe for people that are starting off their business page or have had their business page for a little while. What are they doing wrong with their social media?
Oh God. Social media, there's so many ways to screw this up, but the big one I think is that, like, if you understand the purpose of social media, right? It's all in the name. Social media. Be social, but use it as a media, right? So if you look at the way media in this circumstance in social media, the way people use it is socially. They want to be distracted. They want to be engaged. They want to actually have a conversation. They want to escape their miserable lives. They come on Facebook to disconnect from work, from their partner, from their business, and be distracted. So on social media, you want to be that distraction. You want to enable them to connect. You want to create content, posts that draw them in, that draw them into a conversation. And you want to get them, most importantly, you want to get them off social media and into your database and onto the phone. Take that chat conversation to a phone conversation. Get them to your seminar. Get them to your event. I see all these kids with like 15,000 people in their group, and they've gone through my friends list and everyone else's friends list and added everyone as their friends, and they've got 14,000 people in their group. And it's like that, those groups are getting shut down every day. It's not your fucking group, it's Facebook's. They're customers, and if you don't get them out of Facebook onto the database, you're kidding yourself. It's just a vanity thing. So social media is not about how many people like your page. It's not about how many people are in your group. It's about the people that you're actually having a social conversation with that turns into a business conversation, so that you're really leveraging the power of that media. It's about, and let's be really honest, it's about paying to play, learning how to turn $1,000 into 100 emails, into 10 phone numbers, into a $40,000 sale 3 times a week, to get you to recurring billings of like, you know, $150,000 a month. That's what social media has meant for us. Like, we probably spent about, you know, 100, 200 grand a year on social media in the last few years, and we're always making over $1 million back from it. If you're not doing that, you are missing the whole fucking point, and you are missing out on a gold rush, because they're going to fuck it up. Facebook is working every day to make the next MySpace or the next Google. They're trying to make it worse, and they're trying to make it more difficult to use. They're trying to make it more difficult to advertise on. It's sooner or later, it's going to go. It's only a matter of time. So right now, while you can buy phone numbers for $5, $10, $20, buy the phone numbers, grow your database, build your list, make the sales. Stop fucking around buying likes or, you know, posting photos. Real estate agents, stop posting photos of houses. You know, women in business, stop posting 3 photos of you in fucking heels going, you know, and being glorious goddess empresses, and start generating some fucking leads and making some sales into your seminars.
Yeah.
Because if you've got all day to post photos on Facebook of you looking twee, I know you're not making sales. Yeah, if your day looks like get up in the morning, post on Facebook, go in your group and put some content up, send some emails, do some coaching, and oh my God, it's time to go to bed. You're not making sales from Facebook. You're not making, about both women and men doing that right now, being busy but not particularly productive. That's what they're doing on social media every fucking day. They're looking into the Palantir of Sauron and getting sucked into it, rather than controlling it and getting other people sucked into their business.
Got it. I'm so glad I asked you that question, because I got to see that passion and the energy.
Fancy Gulliver.
Exactly. But probably a good segue into this is a big part of, or a part of, what you offer to people. If they're interested in speaking further to you, what would be the easiest way for them to do that?
Gosh, there's so many different ways you can find me. But look, really, the biggest conversations that I have with people are usually around sales, fear of sales, growth, marketing, how to get over their stuff around sales, how to get their people's stuff solved, you know, how to get their staff to sell better, how to grow their business and leverage themselves. If you want to have a conversation about anything we've discussed today or about any of that, you can friend me up on Facebook. I'm facebook.com/sales warlord, and chat with me. If you can't get through to me, it's because my 5,000 friends limit has yet again been exceeded, and I have to unfriend someone who's been my friend for 5 years and have never spoken to me and is just sucking up my content for free, which I'm doing every day. So every time birthdays come up and you haven't spoken to me in a year, bye-bye. If you can't get me there, message me on my page, and I will fire one of those people and make friends with you.
Nice.
If you look at my stuff, if you Google me, there's a million interviews just like this one, but probably not as good because there's not sexy guy on the other end with the cool hair. So you can watch more of this sort of junk if you want to, but there's also a bunch of free stuff all over Facebook and YouTube and Google. You know, do your research. But we get some great results with people who do the work. If you want to do the work, you want to talk about it, the first consultation's free. More than happy to make the time.
Exactly, mate. Just tell us about the 8% before we wrap it up.
Okay, so the 8% is really about the convergence of innovation, art, creativity, business, and disrupting the world for good. So changing things. What we've been doing with the 8% has been to create a media site which really focuses on the convergence space for business people who are creative and innovative, but not just in a tech startup bubble kind of way, but in actually wanting to disrupt their industries and the world for the better. So what the 8% is all about is, obviously creating relationships with businesses who want to be more creative and innovative and see that as the way forward to separate themselves out, with artists who want to be more mercantile and more business-like, and with both of those people who want to actually help people in the Indigenous communities or where there's injustice in the world, homelessness, poverty, who want to actually use innovation, art, business, and creativity as a force for good and social change. So that's what the 8% is about. Check it out. It's THE8, the number, percent, the word.com. There's a bunch of really good articles on there. Leela's doing a lot on there. There's also a podcast. We've done a few episodes and a few more. Go and have a listen to that. But you'll get a pretty good picture of who we are, what we're all about. About taking that sensibility of creating change, creating more innovative businesses, creating more creative businesses, and helping creative people who aren't in business or need to be more business-like. So if you're in that space and you want to learn more, I'd love to help you. If you're an innovator, a change maker, if you're a disruptor, if you actually want to change the world for the better, I'd love to talk about you about the 8% activities as well.
So awesome, mate. Appreciate your time.
No worries, man. My pleasure. Thank you for having us.
No worries, mate. Awesome.
Cool.